He's asking how old I am. I do not know who he is. He said I got your name from the memo.
Video games are a way for us to be in our safe space, at the comfort of our own homes. Seemingly nothing to interrupt us, and being one of the most peaceful things you can do, you can enjoy some off time. However, everything has a dark side. Stories from doxing to even stalking. But for now, let's look at child predators. People that at times pretend to be kids, and once trust is gained with their target, things can get dangerous. You allow your kids to download Fortnite or any other friendly rated games, and you don't think much of it. At the end of the day, they aren't playing GTA 5 or any violent games, right? Well, that would be great, except there's many creepy situations that can happen, especially to a child. With apps like Discord and the availability of social media, things can get even worse, because even after the game has ended and voice chat is no longer an option, they still have a way to keep communication through texting. And even worse, pictures and videos, which raises the risk of things getting out of hand. A 12-year-old child was extremely addicted to Fortnite, playing over 10 hours a day. At some point in his Fortnite session, he meets another player, and they start texting on Xbox. And after a while of texting on the Xbox, the player asks the kid to download WhatsApp on his phone, and this is where things kinda go wrong. And on top of that, he wants him to add his number as BFF. It almost feels like he's using the child's innocence against him there. He pretended to be his friend, but really he had other things in mind. Once WhatsApp was downloaded and the kid added the number, the kid's father became suspicious. He asked the kid who this BFF person was, and the kid simply responded that it was a friend from school, it wasn't anything crazy, and that he didn't know his name. Then things get increasingly sinister as the player asks the kid for sexual pictures, and in exchange he will give him $300 worth of Xbox vouchers. Obviously the tactic worked, because in games like Fortnite it is normal for kids especially to desire skins and emotes Fortnite offers. But we also know those skins can go up to $20, and when the kid saw the opportunity of $300, obviously he was too young to think properly and he let his desire take over. Indeed, the pictures were sent, and after 6 months of online texting, the father found all the texts and stepped in, stopping it from possibly getting worse. At 12 years old, we are just so vulnerable, both mentally and physically, that it's just impossible to defend ourselves once cross the line. These predators know exactly how to manipulate children into doing whatever they want, and that's exactly what happens next. This is a completely different story. Things get insanely more descriptive, and this time the kid wasn't so lucky. As far as all the other stories I saw, this one has to be the most brutal. Breck was a 14-year-old boy. He loved video games since he was very young. But what he liked most was building things, something that developed into a love for computers. His mother describes him as a kid who never swore, yelled, or caused any problems in the house. Also, got home and did his homework before playing any games. As we can see, just a great kid all around. At 14 years old, Breck was invited to a virtual clubhouse, a gaming group where he played with friends from school. They played Battlefield and watched YouTube most of the time, but now another person joins in. But this guy wasn't part of the school. In fact, none of the club members really knew him. Louis Daines was the host of the server used by Breck and his friends. He claimed to be a 17-year-old computer engineer running a multi-million-dollar company. Sometimes he was in New York, and other times in Dubai. To Breck, the idea of having such a cool friend was exciting, and from there their online friendship became to grow closer and closer. At a certain point, Louis begins to tell terrible things, such as, "You don't have to do your chores. You don't have to finish school because I can get you an internship at Microsoft. Tell your mom you can be online as long as you want." That was the start of the malevolent behavior. Louis then goes further and sends Breck bizarre pictures, including pictures of witches and things as such, just very strange behavior. His mother actually sees what's happening. She sees the pictures and tells Breck to get offline. but Louis tells him not to. The mother senses danger and contacts the police, but they really didn't do anything. There wasn't any information to act on, especially because they really didn't know how old the suspect was. But also, up to this point, there weren't any sexual texts or pictures. It was all just strange behavior by Louis. But that doesn't last long. 2 months later, Louis convinces Breck to take a paid taxi to his house. A terrible idea, with the excuse of building a new server. But what Breck didn't know is that in the meantime, Louis was out buying condoms and duct tape. Obviously, the intentions of Louis were extremely malicious. That combination of articles makes up for many questions. Breck tells his dad he is going to a different friend's house, and from there, he takes an expensive taxi to over where Louis is staying. And once he arrives, obviously things wouldn't end very well. He will be tied up in duct tape by the wrist and ankles, raped, and killed that same day. The police found severe wounds in his neck, which unfortunately he wouldn't be able to survive. One of the most disturbing cases of crimes involving gaming I've ever seen.
I grabbed a knife and I stabbed him once in the back of the neck, I believe somewhere near the brainstem. He turned around, tried to carry it on, and I think I stumbled on my chest of drawers. I fell over. I got back up, backed away, and then I don't remember exactly what happened, but the fight ended with me cutting his throat. I believe I turned around and I slashed his throat.
Louis Daines was sentenced to a minimum of 25 years in prison, and him being 18 at the time means he could get out at 44 years old. It is very interesting to me how they allow a child rapist and killer to get off so easy. It should be a life sentence with no questions. Not only did he premeditate the kidnapping and killing, he also posted pictures on social media of Breck's dead corpse, bragging to his friends about it. Not enough time in the world for this person to pay for what they did. Just remember that just because you're online doesn't mean that you're completely safe. Like previously mentioned, doxing, stalking is a common behavior by predators. If you see red signals, don't ignore them. Always go with your gut, because 90% of the time you have an off feeling about someone, it turns out to be true.